Morning, Nancy.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
So happy you joined us. I'm good. It's a beautiful day out today.
Yeah. I'm in the city today, so
Oh,
it's all right.
I remember those days. Where are your offices in the city?
39th and 3rd.
Okay, I was actually on 47th and 3rd.
Oh, that's not too bad. So you go
Yeah.
right into Grand Central like
Yeah.
I do.
The
So.
commute was very, very easy, but
Right.
it's been a while. It's been a while.
I actually only come in 1 or 2 days a week, so it's not too bad.
That's good.
Yeah, and
Like,
I like it. I kind of get out of the house and I can actually focus on what I'm doing here.
as right, instead of being interrupted by pets, children, whatever, when you're home. Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How are you, Leslie?
I'm well, thank you. I'll have to turn off my camera for a few minutes, but I'm going to be joining you guys this morning on behalf of the chamber. Vance couldn't make it, and Michelle or Regina weren't able to either, so I'm going to just jump on for the
Okay.
duration of the class. Alrighty.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I have construction happening at my house, so if it's very loud, I might just mute myself because it's loud in my room. So I don't know if you all can hear that.
Don't hear
I
anything
can't-
now, but
I can't hear anything.
Okay, you guys just let me know if it gets too loud and I'll mute myself. Hi, Nancy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I've become like a Pilates junkie, so
That's kind of what happens, I think, to a lot of people once they start. It's a good thing to be addicted to, though.
yeah, it is a good thing. I'm trying to fit in I go consistently 3 days a week, and I've been trying to get in 4 days a week. So
That's awesome. Good for you. I tried 3 days, but often it's 2.
yeah, well, you probably need it less than me.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've actually also added in the village has started a Zumba class, so I added that in too. So
Oh, fun.
that's the other 4th or 5th day of the week. So
Staying active. Love it.
they're hosting that at the community center, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
I thought I saw something on Facebook about it.
Yeah. I've never done it before, and actually it's pretty fun. So it's exciting.
You must have the moves then.
No, that far from that, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. You just go about your business.
That's right. Just as long as you're moving something.
Yep, that is the truth.
Yeah. I know.
Too many of my hobbies are sedentary, so.
Well, I found with COVID and being home a lot more, just sitting on the chair, you start spreading out. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on here? It's so very true.
So are we kind of moving forward with the October 1st, or is that part of today's conversation or not?
Well, I saw something from Regina, who was not participating, that we had put out a survey last week with asking for a response to the businesses, asking for responses by the 6th. And I think we only received 1 or 2 responses. And it seems and it seems that most of them are hoping to do something actually in Macy Park, which I guess could create a little bit more work and challenge on the part of the village. But that's the last I read about, not even heard about. I read it in an email because I asked for some feedback. Right, Heather, we haven't heard anything more than that.
Yeah, not from like the other businesses, but I did think we had locked down the date. Is that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I thought we did too, October 1st. I thought we did.
With a rain date, right? Somewhere the following week, maybe?
I
Right.
think,
now.
I probably with a rain date, but I just don't recall at the top of my
Okay.
head.
I can confirm that with Michelle. I know Michelle's leading the charge on, with Ardsley Day, so I'll confirm that with Michelle. But you're right, we only received one response thus far from the Ardsley businesses.
So her initial proposal was actually for September 2023, but that might be outdated. I'm trying to find another email.
No, it definitely was a proposed date of the 1st. I'm looking at
Okay.
the business owner letter that was
Okay.
sent out. And I don't remember the date when this was sent out, but that was pretty recent. So it definitely is the 1st. So it looks like we want to continue this, and we were expecting a few more participants. I know Jenna Schneider emailed me saying that she got pulled into a meeting. She was going to be one of them, right? No one else is. I'm wondering if they're having problems signing in. We were expecting, let's see, Danielle Centofani Davison. I'm not familiar with her. Garrett Jennings. Dennis Goodhart was going to join us. Lucas is here, and Nair. I guess we'll give it just a few more minutes. Lucas, have you been attending the other village chats?
I have, yeah, they've been going
Oh.
great. There's always one of the local representatives present and a healthy dialogue among business owners, and new ideas are popping out all the time.
Okay, well, that's what we're trying to do here in Ardsley, right, Heather?
Right, we just can't get anyone to actually attend. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I guess the one person who respond to that request, maybe Heather, you and I need to walk the streets a little bit with a brochure, with the letter asking for feedback on the spot. What do you
About
think?
Ardsley Day?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how many people really know about it, although that was the distribution list, right? That Google Doc.
right,
that
it
we
was
put
the
together.
businesses, correct.
Yeah.
Did that capture all the new businesses? Because I mean, we do have new businesses too. I'm surprised that they wouldn't want to participate.
Right. I mean, we added Honest Art. I think the
Books are
new
due, I think.
music.
I'm not sure about, when you say the new businesses, the businesses that are opened or the businesses that will be opening, Nancy, or both?
Well, I mean, we just opened, there's a Thai restaurant that just opened.
Oh, yeah. That place is good.
Yeah. There's gonna be a ramen noodle place opening up, next, near that, there was a new day spa that opened up. There is another sports gym that's opening up over Bucci's Garage. There's a deli that's coming into Adams Square.
Wow.
So, I just, and Honest Art's been there for a while. The shop is, I always thought, pretty
They're
involved.
members. They're members.
They are members?
I thought they were. I thought they joined.
I don't think, unless they changed recently, I don't think so. Because they didn't even have their contact info, the shop.
And Lanincio's has been a member in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Booskadoo is pretty new. So, I mean,
So not all of
Is
those
it-
are on our list because we don't
right,
have
so,
any contacts for them at Ramen Noodle and the Day Spa. But I guess not even sure how we're going to do that.
I thought that same idea, Connie, like last year when we were trying to get more just membership from the Ardsley businesses, was to canvas, and like they had made flyers to distribute. And then I don't know, maybe I got so busy or what happened, but yeah, maybe we can have the chamber, like if there's something that some sort of marketing collateral that they could provide about membership, but we can also leave something about Ardsley Day, and we can either go together or we could divide and conquer, like whatever you think makes more sense.
I would be happy to participate in that too, if you want. And I could probably get you some contact information for Buskadu,
Buskadu.
I don't know how to spell that, but, and then there's the music store and the
I think
tire.
they were on the list. But
Yeah, if you
Right?
want, Nancy, we could send you the list we have. And
All right,
if you,
because I've always worked on a list myself, so I have some
Okay.
contact information. So if you want to send me that, I can see what
Yeah.
I can fill in.
let me see if I have access to share it with you. It's a Google Doc. It may have
And
to
then
be
on the
shared by
chamber
the-
side, we could definitely put together something about Ardsley Day, like a flyer or something, that if you think it would be helpful so that you could distribute to the actual businesses in person, like, we could definitely do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think that'd be
Leslie,
a
we
good
probably
idea.
can use that letter that we just sent, like the body of the letter to create the flyer, the proposed date and food tours, whatever we have in that, and that probably can help us.
So what do
Nancy,
you
I
think?
just,
that-
sorry,
why do
I
you
just
think?
shared the doc with you for the
Oh.
Ardsley business context. So you should get it to your email.
I see that coming through. Yes, thank you. Why do you think the businesses are not interested? I'm part of my gut tells me that there were 2 board members who were local business owners and not participants in the chamber, and that may or may not have an impact. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just speculating.
Mhm,
But-
mhm.
You're talking about interest in the chamber and it, like in general, not the Ardsley Day event. Yeah.
In general, yes, in general, yes.
I don't
So-
really know. I mean, because when the River Towns Chamber came out, however many years ago that was, I was a relatively new business in Ardsley and it seemed like a no-brainer to me to just join. But you're right, there's very few Ardsley, like I think from the River Towns, the 4 towns, it's the fewest participation percentage.
It is.
And I know that Michelle and, everybody's aware and we've been trying to get, more Ardsley people to join, but as to why, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. I mean,
Well, my guess is simply that there wasn't enough focus, and I think Heather and I are really trying to raise the awareness level. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but when I joined it because of the Dobbs Ferry relationship I had. Our offices were actually in Dobbs Ferry. And I always saw a little participation by Ardsley, and that's why I wanted to become an Ardsley Village rep. I'm like, what's wrong with Ardsley? Why isn't Ardsley participating? I live here all these years, and I work in Dobbs, and so maybe I'm wrong there, but I just don't think that we were paid much attention to and really aggressively marketed to, and now we're trying to do that, and we're at seem to always be at some roadblocks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've done a lot. Well, not we, but like the chamber in general
Yeah.
has done a lot to try to promote like the village chats and the Ardsley businesses outside of really just going door to door and on
Mhm.
foot. Like we've tried a lot of different things. Now I know Nancy, you put us in the village newsletter. So
Thank you so much for that.
maybe that's our next step, is to just get out there on the streets.
Well, and I know Vance has been trying to participate more in the village meetings, whenever he's available. He's participating. So I think we definitely have a more concerted effort going on right now.
Do you
Maybe
think
it's just a matter of time? I don't know.
Do you think that since the pandemic, a lot of home-based businesses have started and maybe the chamber could offer them something too?
Well, it was my understanding that most of the digital, related companies were always the ones who were the most active in the Rivertown Chamber. And our goal was to now get the actual storefronts. That was my understanding when I first joined. I don't know if that's still the case, to be honest.
Well, I know for 2023, the chamber is making a concerted effort to take into consideration that a lot of the new businesses are home-based and entrepreneurial type, as opposed to brick and mortar. So a lot of the opportunities, for example, that have that we have now for 2023 are geared towards that. And we're trying to shed more light to that. So that is something that we have in mind, and we are moving forward, trying to attract brick and mortar as well as these home-based businesses.
One
I think
idea,
that was actually brought up at one of the last meetings. And, you know, I actually asked how you get that information, and it was a search of the LLCs that had been filed with addresses like in 10502 on home-based businesses. But were those people included in the survey perhaps that was sent out, or just the brick and mortar businesses?
I believe it was all businesses. I don't think it was just the brick and mortar.
Heather, do you have access to that list that you sent to?
Yeah, let
Maybe,
me take a look.
I think you're right, Leslie. I
Just
think there
got it.
were a combination of businesses, not all brick and mortar on that document.
So looks like most of these are brick and mortar.
Okay, so then we need to make a concerted effort at adding some of those home-based companies.
do you think that Ardsley businesses are not showing up to the chat because they're generally really happy? Or do they think that coming to the chat won't help them?
I have no way of knowing that.
It sounds like business is on the upswing, so maybe there's no big pain points.
Well, I'm glad to see all these new businesses coming to Ardsley. That says something, right? So maybe this new blood coming in will recognize that the chamber is a good thing for them, to help them make the community aware that they're there.
For me specifically, we've learned some really important information from Westchester County about the business landscape and the financial assistance, the grant opportunities. It's been tremendously valuable just to hear, keep your fingers on the pulse of what's going on. There's a lot of money that the county has that they dedicate towards various programs and
Women-owned businesses.
exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe our next village chat, we focus on just announcing some of those programs, and maybe that'll entice some new members to participate in the chat and then look towards membership.
I think that's a good way of getting them to log in.
Right,
Because they may think,
Make
what's in it
part
for
of the
me.
agenda.
Right, they'll be curious to know what they'd be able to take advantage of.
Well, how do you get out the word about having this chat? I mean, is it I know that we're now putting it in the newsletter, but how else do you get out the word about like when these chats are occurring?
The chamber sends pretty frequent emails to all of their distribution, which I assume is members and maybe anyone else on their distribution list that maybe not even that might not be members. I know I get like almost weekly emails from them reminding
I
us.
get 2 or 3 per day because I must be on multiple lists.
Yeah.
I think I get a bunch too, but if you're not a member and you haven't signed up, then you're not getting them. And,
No, I think Heather's right. They do include non-members that who have attended our networking events. They create a database from that. So maybe people just asking for
Yeah,
information.
Nancy, you're right. Like if you're not part of that email distribution list, you're not getting the email. I think that outside of like maybe posting on social, I don't know, do you guys, do you post on social for Rivertown's Chamber about the village chats?
We do,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
We put it on Facebook, Instagram, in our newsletters, and on the website, of course. But this is where we rely on the village representatives, Connie and Heather, to try to do the legwork to try to get them, maybe through face-to-face conversations or visiting some of the businesses, or even emailing them one-on-one to try to get them, to join, or if they're not
already seeing the posts or the emails or the website, that's another avenue where they can learn about these village chats.
And I know
I
when I
wonder-
see it on social media, I share it on my social media as well.
Right. I wonder if there's an opportunity, and I don't think Joe is on this call, right? The village manager, he's not on this call. I wonder if there's an opportunity where, and it's actually something I've always thought about, but never I had the time, I suppose. I don't know, it gets sucked into something and having like inviting business owners to like coffee and tea at the community center to talk about, what the village can do to help them. Maybe there's an opportunity here to do something like that and then invite the chamber to talk and see what
No.
they could present to business owners, what could be beneficial to joining the chamber. Again, I'm just going to say this out loud, that we've had 2 board members or local business owners who I think is somewhat part of the problem here, who did not see, and I'm going to say this again out loud, value in the chamber.
And maybe that's
Are
not
they
their
still
fault
part of the
either.
board?
Yes.
They are.
Maybe it's not their fault, and maybe it's an opportunity for us to approach them and ask them, why not? How can we provide more value for you? And then that might be really useful information for the chamber.
Yeah, well, one of them no longer is a local business owner. That would be the wash and dry.
Yep.
But the other one is not only, a local business owner, he is the one who I understand is, part owner in the deli that's opening up in Adams Square. So I just don't, I believe it was the Orange. I believe that Craig was a member of the chamber a number of years ago, but I don't know if I don't think he still is.
I think, well, Leslie, can you mention that to Vance? I think he definitely is dedicated to making a better relationship with boards of all the villages. And I think he'd love to communicate all the value the chamber has to offer. I'm not sure who this board member is, but Leslie, if you understand who it is, maybe Vance could reach out.
Yeah, we have a list of all the board members, and I could definitely let Vance know.
One thing that I can say, Nancy, is that, and I've been a member now, I think this is my 3rd year, and every year the benefits keep growing. There's more activity on the part of the chamber in terms of not just the networking, but what they can help to do in terms of promoting the new businesses, the social media aspect, the ribbon cutting. So I think this would be a great opportunity for Vance to introduce to the 2 board members who perhaps thought of the old chamber and what was happening versus what's going on today. I think there's a lot more activity happening.
Heather, Nancy, and Connie, I wanted to run an idea by you. A picture's worth 1,000 words, so I could show it. The concept would be like a Shop Ardsley Day, and it would be essentially online for 1 hour. As many businesses want to participate they'd get their own Zoom meeting, and people from across Westchester could pop in and visit the Pilates studio, visit the bagel shop, and just meet the people behind the stores over like how Leslie has her phone right now. It's like very personal. You could tell like she's holding the phone and there's a person there. And they're in their store, and it's like, this is where we make the sandwiches, this is where we do the exercise. And as a software engineer, this is what I'm building for the Greenberg Chamber of Commerce, which is stepping up, and also other chambers that we're looking to work with. But you essentially find out, imagine all these dots are in Ardsley, you could see who is available to jump on Zoom right now, or you could shop their website. And it'd just be like a 1 hour event, kind of like an online farmer's market. And you can go from shop to shop, and just wondering if you think that could bring some visibility to Ardsley-based businesses, both home-based businesses and especially brick and mortar.
I don't know enough about it to,
Ditto.
right? I feel,
Sounds good, but ditto.
right,
Don't
it's like, what, are they gonna really shop, or they're just gonna talk to the shop owner? I'm a little confused as to what they're going to be doing.
Well, if the shop owner has an online website where they sell something, then you can connect that. But if they don't have a website online, then it's just meet the shop owner, learn about what's available. And these will be people coming in from, let's say, northern New Jersey, Port Chester, White Plains, Yonkers, people that want to get out of their cities and visit a lovely town for a day. And so they're kind of putting on their radar, is Ardsley a place I'd like to visit in person?
You know,
Again, I don't know enough about it.
We could definitely bring that up to Regina and get her thoughts on it as well from the chamber side and see if that's something that we can do or that's worth looking into.
I love Nancy's idea about the coffee and tea at the community center. I think that would be a great opportunity for us to get, you know, the community there and meeting with all of us.
But I can see Lucas's concept, but a little bit further down the road. And the reason I say that is because the village is currently working on a marketing and branding initiative where we sort of want to, you know, Ardsley in the minds of so many people is not its downtown area and not its businesses, but its schools. So people, when they think of Ardsley, they think of the schools and they don't think of our downtown area. Like you think of Dobbs and Hastings and Tarrytown, you know, they have these little walkability villages that seem so quaint and, you know, all this. We have 9A and the Thruway and the Sawmill River Parkway, you know, but, and they all do come together. But nobody, you know, people don't view the village as this quaint little place. But we are, I'm saying that because we are embarking on a marketing and branding to try to change that image of the village and hopefully that would help our businesses as well. So there may come a point where once we get that sort of branding and marketing campaign to the point where we're ready to launch it, that we could utilize a concept of bringing the businesses into that marketing campaign. Just a thought.
Excellent. We have the same problem with Central Avenue, not seen as an attractive destination. Edgemont is just the schools, exactly. No
Yeah, I have a
downtown.
business on Central too. I have that problem all the time.
Right.
With the,
But I
with
mean,
the
and
community.
you can see that in Ardsley. You know, we have 3 strip malls, and the nicest part of Ardsley, and the strip malls are good because they actually have parking. So, you know, I mean, but when you really think about where Lenincio's is and the shop is and Adamson Square, it's sort of a nice area, but crossing the street is difficult. It's a truck route. It's difficult. I mean, it's one of the things that always made me feel uncomfortable about Ardsley Day because we cannot shut down that road. But you know, the one of the things we talked about was having, like, you know, an Ardsley Day in Pascone Park, and the restaurants didn't want to bring the food from downtown to the park. This created a problem for them. They wanted to be in front of their storefronts. So I'm not sure what people want to do in Macy Park, but I don't know if the restaurants, you know, how they, well, obviously they didn't respond, so.
One respondent isn't going to give us a consensus.
Right, so I don't know how that's gonna work, but.
Well, we'll try to reach out to them again to see if we could try to get some more feedback. I mean, we still have some time, so we'll work on that as well.
Yeah, and I'll take a look at that list and see if I can fill in some contact information for you. And then you know what, I'll actually sort of talk to Trish, who is our rec director, who actually, you know, is very well acquainted with a lot of our businesses. And Joe and the board, we actually have a work session tomorrow, you know, to try to sort of brainstorm with them, you know, how we could, you know, get this going in a more productive way.
Thank you.
That'll be great.
Yeah, it would be wonderful.
Well, we don't thrive in these communities without small businesses. So, it's my theory has always been that the buildings should be taller. They should have apartments on top of them. So that helps the small businesses thrive too.
Yeah.
So, but, and with not having a walkable village, you have to do something to make it more attractive for people to want to go down to the downtown area and not just come in, get what they want and leave.
Right. Nancy, what was going on with that garage? Did we hear that it was sold and?
The one next to the shop,
Right,
it was finally, after 5,632 years.
the whole 23 years I think I've lived here.
Well, it was actually a garage when I moved here, and that's going on 28 years ago. So it was the garage for like a minute and a half. It was ultimately sold a year and a half ago, and not in, I could have pictured so many other nicer things there, but it's sort of a HVAC where they were going to have like their offices and some meeting places there. But ultimately, I think they're running into financial difficulties. So their concept of building a bigger building on that piece of property with apartments and things like that has stalled. So there's nothing happening, unfortunately.
Too bad.
Yeah.
It's a nice piece of real estate.
It's amazing how many years it's been so vacant like that. And the village actually, over a number of periods of times, contemplated buying the property. The problem with the property always was that there's levels of contamination because it was a gas station for so long. And there was never a comfort level with the Department of Environmental Conservation of how badly contaminated it is. So it wasn't, we as a village have always been advised not to buy it for that reason. Well, although I could see a lot of good reasons to buy it, but parking.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I mean, what we have recently done is Congressman Bowman's put out an appropriations application, and so we applied through his office for a $1 million grant to upgrade all of Adams Square and the bus stations across the street, and to put in a high-powered charging station and redo all the sidewalks, do all the streetscapes, build a green wall in the back of Adams Square, do all new lighting, perhaps have nice tables. I've always been under the, I'd love to see that as a, community center where people can sit outdoors at certain periods of time with no parking. So we, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that maybe we get some money out of his office to do something like that. But even if we don't get some money, we have allocated about $800,000 to do some upgrades over the next year and a half in that area. So
I'm sorry, what
that's
area?
Adams Square,
Okay.
And I know that we submitted a letter of support too. Joe reached out to the chamber, and Lance created a support letter that was also sent along.
Yes, you did, and I really appreciate that. So we
No,
got
but that's what this is all about, right? Are trying to work together for the betterment of our village, and we appreciate your participation with us too.
Right, so I got a letter from Latimer and Shimsky and Andrea Stewart Cousins. So I'm really hoping, I understand that no other Rivertown village applied through his office for federal appropriations money. So Hastings got some last year, so I'm really hoping that it's our turn this year. And I think that that could make the concept is to sort of freshen up all of Adams Square, all the way up to close to where Lenencio's is, to the whole sidewalk and plantings and benches and, to really bring it about to make it look nice.
So it can be a gathering place for people.
Right.
Mhm.
If you go into Scarsdale during COVID, Scarsdale by the train station put up that huge tent right outside of where their DeChico's is. And I understand that they're actually keeping it there because people so much like to have an outdoor space to sit and have coffee and have lunch and have this and have that. So, I'd love to be able to do something like that in Ardsley.
Right.
So how about if I'll talk to the board and, we'll sort of figure out if there's something more we could do here to help promote this a little more. I'll take a look at the list that Heather sent. Sometimes the contact information comes out in, when they have applications before the planning and the zoning and the BAR, when you have to go before those boards. And I could probably get information off of some of those applications that they're public. It's not that they're not public information. They're public information. It's just a matter of digging around for it, knowing where to find it. So maybe I can fill in some of that information. And, if there is an opportunity to, knock on doors and talk to people, I'd be happy to do that. And I'll talk to Joe and see if there's some kind of, coffee and tea event that we can do in, the near future.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
Nancy.
I'm trying to do what we can do. It's hard though, I just don't know what else. I've never had a small business, so, but I can understand the struggles of a small business.
I mean, I think that as a small business owner, I think it's just, you don't have, it's hard to commit time to things. So maybe a lot of these owners that haven't joined the chamber or aren't joining the calls, they're just strapped trying to manage their business. I mean, that's what I would imagine. It's hard for me to carve out 30 minutes to an hour, but I also have 4 businesses, but still, I mean, even with one business, it's a lot.
That's also
So
the
I don't know.
thought behind, that's also the thought behind the chamber shifting the village chats to 4 times a year instead of monthly, and Zoom rather than in person, to give people more flexibility to join from wherever they are, from their car or from wherever. So we're hoping that that helps as well. It has helped, I think, a bit in some of the other villages. Not so much yet in Ardsley. We did have 4 other people, I think, that registered for today's meeting, but they did not show up for whatever reason.
Yeah, our registration was the highest today.
Yeah, I was so
The
happy.
participation wasn't.
Yes, they
6
did
people
register. I don't know why they didn't show up. I checked my email to make sure they didn't have any technical difficulty, but there's no emails from any of them.
I think
I
to
mean-
Deb's point, they're busy, right? And maybe
Yeah.
they got called into meetings or.
Right,
Always a fire, right? Always something.
right. All right, I have to leave
Thank
you.
you.
All right,
But
thank you.
Thank you
for
so much,
joining.
Nancy.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Talk to y'all
Bye,
soon.
everyone. Take care.
Bye. And then there were 2. Oh,
Yeah, well,
and then there was 1.
and I'm trying to figure out how to do.
Just press the right and the end button on the top right-hand corner. All right, have a great day.